What's up? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm just gonna wait another few minutes here until we start, but thank you for coming. Oh, hello, Laura. How you doing?
Good, Good, Jason. How are you?
Great, great.
I'm not sure why I showed up as Katarina, so I just changed my name.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Diane, it looks like you're showing up as Katarina too.
Oh, well, I don't know how to change my name.
If you hover over the name over on the right and up at the top, you can change it. But it's funny why we showed up as that. I don't know.
Okay. Participants?
Yes. And then
All
you'll
right.
see Katarina.
Yes.
And then hover over it, and then you get 3 dots.
Hover over her name.
Yeah, up to the right of it, and there's 3 dots, and then you should be able to, it says you can get a drop down and it'll say rename, or it might say more, and then you can go to rename.
Oh, I'm not. Let me see. Over the participants. Okay. And I hover.
You see Katarina Kovacevic?
I do.
Okay, that's you. So go on to the right side of that name.
Okay. Where the mic is?
I can rename.
Yeah.
How do you spell your name? I can rename you for you.
Oh, she's an easy one.
Yes. Betty Ann, BettyAnn, King, King.
Got it. I got it.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah, I don't know why it showed up like that. Let's see if this is this the real Katarina or is this another fake? Let's see here. I guess we will find out shortly, but looks like most other people are okay, which is
Yeah,
good.
they're all coming in. I don't know why we came in that way. I don't know. Oh yeah, there is another Katarina.
Maybe that's oh my. Okay. Yeah, we'll just make sure everyone renames themselves. So hello everyone. If you're coming in as Katarina and you are not Katarina, wow, this is a lot of people coming in. Please rename yourself. Because some of you may have been mistakenly misnamed. And I'm pretty sure there are not 10 Katarina Kovaceviches in this group here. So I'll give everyone a second. I think it's because what happened is Katarina sent a reminder email to everyone with a Zoom link. And I think that Zoom link was tied to her specific registration form.
Yeah.
So that everyone ended up getting their email. So I'll make that announcement once again while we're just waiting for new folks to trickle in. If you are named Katarina Kovacevic, please rename yourself to the appropriate name. What you have to do is you have to hover in participants, hover over your name, click more, rename. If not, I will also encourage you all to go to the chat, and I can also rename you for you if you are having trouble. So if you are one of those folks who got Katarina, she's a lovely lady, but I know there's only one of her. Please, either change your name, and if you don't know how to, just drop it in the chat and I can change it for you. So we're going to wait another few seconds here. Everyone to trickle in. We still have a few minutes. So in the time being, what I wanted to do is I'll open up the chat for anyone who has any I won't even say this is post-election, but weird mid election thoughts or feelings to vent out, please feel free to find some solace in the chat box. I'm sure we can all have our opinions there. So I'll open up the chat box and I'll be a little debrief, a little kind of warm up while everyone is coming. And please feel free to express anything you need. Amelia, it is Amelia. I feel you, man. Oh yeah, Nevada. I know. Just as a heads up to everyone, I will ask you to mute yourself during the course of the presentation. But now we are okay. I'm still going to give everyone a few more minutes just to trickle in. Yeah, Nevada, man. Everything's taking forever. I think that's as expected, though. All right. We'll give everyone another 2 minutes. Once again, the chat box is open for anyone to express their election day feelings. So yeah, please take a second. We can.
Where's the chat box?
Yeah, in a minute I will mute everyone just so we can go through our presentation. So give everyone another minute just to get settled and situated, and then we're going to start. Very true, Jane. Very true. Our patience is being tested. Okay, so yeah, we're going to start here. So I'm going to mute everyone. Not being rude or anything. We do want to get the show on the road here. Yeah, Betty Ann says kudos to the boards of elections across the country for sure. You got to make sure that they keep the count coming. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. And first of all, I would like to welcome everyone to the Meet NYYCI event. Thank you everyone for coming during this tumultuous time. I know we would all love to be glued to the 24/7 news cycle that is kind of our lives at this point, even before all this, but for sure I can know myself and have the New York Times up on my browser and I'm constantly refreshing, but looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit more. So hopefully here at NYYCI will help you pass the time. So first of all, I'd like to give a little introduction about who we are and what we do. So we're a platform of more than 30 plus organizations and hundreds of students. And our goal is to create a vehicle to connect New York City students to sustained opportunities for civic engagement. And our whole motto is to encourage New York City youth to take the next step and turn the marches, the protests, and the walkouts into concrete civic action. And our whole goal is to also strengthen the youth advocacy movement by fostering informed and engaged citizens and advocates. We really also seek to create a sense of accessibility amongst the youth advocacy movement. A lot of times young people are very invested and interested and engaged in the issues that they care about. The problem is we just need to meet them where they are and connect them to the opportunities for them to take that next step and make a sustained, long-lasting impact. So how do we do that? We'll talk a little about some history. I'll talk a little about history with myself. Oh, I almost forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jason Bonner. I am the, sorry, sometimes I get ahead of myself. I like to just go straight into, the organization. But my name is Jason Bonner. I am the founder, co-founder, and the executive director. And a little bit of history while we're at it. So A little bit about myself, some background. My interest in civics and civic engagement really started with Democracy Ready Youth Leadership Initiative. So I was nominated by the League of Women Voters to serve on a youth leadership initiative for Democracy Ready, which is a coalition for civic education across New York State. And this was last year or 2 years ago now. And what we did is we conducted a survey that we got statewide reach on, and we assessed the extent of civic participation, civic education with students across the state. And I'll just say that the results were very jarring enough for me to want to start this organization. So I'm sure you can see there. And it really just showed the disparity in terms of the knowledge. A lot of young people don't know who their senators are, don't know who their Congress people, local elected officials are, don't know, not only that from the government side, they don't have opportunities available to them in their schools and their communities to find their civic voice and to get involved. So I connected with the League of Women Voters, and I was also a participant in their Students Inside Albany initiative, which was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had, and really was just awesome. So big shout out to the league there. And from there, the education committee. And we had this idea of a job fair, which was going to be more than 20 plus organizations. Al Sharpton was going to be there, and it was going to be, let's bring all these advocacy groups into one place in a big event with a lot of people. And, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. And that sounds amazing, but it's not very COVID friendly. And it was April 4th, so it got canceled. But we were able to maintain our connections with a lot of youth-led organizations across the city. So that was a benefit. We transitioned into a more sustained virtual project. We had a few events, coping with COVID, a virtual kickoff, which we featured some of our organizations. We had a fellowship. We did a Why Voting Matters event. And now we're transitioning more into focusing on our website, movement correspondence. And we've also developed relationships, like I said, with more than 40 plus advocacy organizations, multiple different other networks, including Civics for All, DOE Connections, Girl Scouts, Trinity Church, NYPL, National Action Network, and other schools. Okay, so let's move on here. So how do we do it? Well, through our website, Instagram, and newsletter, we are part the Indeed.com of advocacy opportunities. So we curate our opportunities for more than 30 plus organizations, and we will be going over our new website that we just launched soon. So yeah, stay tuned for that at the end. Here we feature internships, fellowships, employment opportunities, events, workshops, and more. So sustained opportunities for young people to get involved with our advocacy organizations. From a diverse set of different organizations, issues, and opportunities. So young people want to connect and find a way to connect with some, art and action opportunities if they want to, express their activist voice through art. We have opportunities for that. If they want to do some more traditional kind of nonprofit advocacy work with some of our organizations, we have that. Internships. My cousin found an opportunity to be a graphic designer for one of our voting organizations. So there's, everything under the sun, but with a more of a human-centered connection. As we know, activism is about the culture of the organization. It's about the people and the groups. And we wanted to highlight the behind the scenes stories of our organizations at the same time. And that leads us to the reason why we're here today and the kickoff for this new initiative, which are our movement correspondents. So what are our movement correspondents? Well, our movement correspondents are a team of NYYCI students who are matched to one of our organizations, and their job is to tell the story of our organizations and highlight the behind the scenes narratives of the youth on the front lines. The whole purpose of it is to engage young people in the culture of organizations, amplify the voices of the people behind the megaphone. Look, folks, we didn't just want to be the the Indeed.com of advocacy opportunities. Activism, civic engagement is so much more than that. As you know, politics is personal. Advocacy, activism is all about stories. It's so much more effective and so much more engaging and empowering to tell these stories and connect young people to who the other young people are who are running these groups. Because it's one thing just to say, here's an opportunity. It's another thing to show them, okay, these are the kinds of people you're going to be getting involved with that are part of the organization, and make that real human connection. Okay, so how do we do that? So movement correspondents produce monthly projects So profile pieces, article, video, infographic, and they meet with our organizations. They also have League of Women Voter Mentors and NYYCI support. They also do some initiative aggregation to help us with that Indeed.com part of our mission, which is to stay up to date with our organizations and be a liaison. So a little bit about the monthly project. So they either are working on two different types of project. It can be an NYYCI campaign, which we will speak about. I see here we have Autumn and Amelia, who are going to be speaking with us shortly about a campaign they just concluded called the Beyond the Ballot Box campaign. In addition to, or they're working on independent content. So that's based on meetings with organizations. And this content can be about spotlighting the work of the organization. So taking a campaign, a project or initiative that they're getting, that the organization is doing, and spotlighting that and writing an article or a video or a infographic. They can also talk about hot topics, events, anything that's going on with relation to the work of the organization. So that's one piece. They can also use the organizations as a guide and a fundamental resource, and then produce more holistic pieces as well and more general pieces. For example, over the summer, I'm sure some of the league folks here remember, there was a whole push, like the Over Now, I think that's what it was called, campaign for online voter registration in New York State. And it wasn't only league, it was a bunch of different voting organizations who were part of that. So let's say a movement correspondent was interested, they could do a whole piece talking about voter registration in New York State and bring in their organization, maybe even connect with some of our other voter organizations to really bring that comprehensive background to, what the laws are and what the extent of the issue is and why it's important that we do something about it. In addition to, they can also obviously do general profiling organizations and spotlights on activists. So now we're going to turn to our panel discussion. Fortunately, we were able to have some of our movement correspondents, some of the people who are working on our first project, Beyond the Ballot Box, here with us today. So I'm going to turn it over to the real Katarina Kovacevic, and she is going to introduce them really quickly. So Katarina, take it away.
Hi, my name is Katarina. As a lot of you have figured. And today on our panel discussion, we have Autumn, Young-So, and Amelia. Autumn works with social media, Young-So is a movement correspondent, and so is Amelia. So we're going to hear about their experiences working on our recent Beyond the Ballot Box campaign. So.
Yep, thank you, Katarina, as everyone can meet the woman of the hour there. But yeah, so we're going to start off and just really what we want to do is have our students talk about their experience and why they think this whole aspect of telling these stories of our organizations is so important. So how about, first of all, I want to, turn it over to Amelia, and maybe Amelia, you could give us a few words and just explain what the Beyond the Ballot Box project was, what the purpose of it was, and speak a little bit about your amazing video that you did with Toby Paperno. So Amelia, please take the mic.
So Beyond the Ballot Box was a campaign that a few of us all got assigned a few organizations to either make a social media post, an article, or video about. It ended up being mostly social media posts and my two videos. But Beyond the Ballot Box is pretty self-explanatory, trying to go beyond the ballot box, because we know that politics doesn't start and end with voting and electoralism. There are so many brilliant youth activists that are doing so much within their communities to make political change. So for me, I met with Toby Paperno and from Teens Take Charge, as well as a representative from Democracy Ready New York. And I made two videos, basically just spotlighting their work and their organization's work through this, this time with COVID and with the election, things have definitely been interesting. So, but also what they have been doing this entire time behind the scenes. And really what I wanted to accomplish was to demystify the entire process, because it is mystifying. I haven't, like, COVID was, and quarantine was kind of a blessing in disguise for me, because this is the first time that I was really able to see all the organizations that were around me, because they all went online. But it took this long. I'm a senior in high school, and I really wish I started beforehand, because I would love to have done this when I was a freshman. So really, what I see NYCYCI doing as a whole, as well as the Beyond the Ballot Box campaign, is making that connection between the people who want to do it and the people who are already there and are waiting for more people to join them. And really to motivate youth activists to get in charge. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amelia. I think it resonates with our mission, and you said it yourself the best. It's we're able to kind of see through these processes what's out there for us and how we can empower ourselves and take agency for our futures. I know that's something that you really spoke about. We actually did a combined event called Finding Your Civic Voice. It was recorded, and it's on our YouTube channel. And you talked a lot about that importance of young people having, taking agency, and having kind of influence over our own futures. So my question is, I guess, why do you think it's important for us to tell the stories of people, or the narratives of people like Teens Take Charge or Toby Paperno, or people who are taking agency over their futures? And why is it important for us to show that and to talk about that narrative to other young people? I know you kind of touched on it, but.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, there are people that want to and just don't know how to get there. Like there's definitely a wall between the process and the people who want to get involved, and really breaking down that mystification is really what's important, because everyone should be civically involved. And I think there are a lot of people you wouldn't expect that are really interested in this. They just don't have the connections yet. So really making it, I guess, democratic and very, yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think democratizing, making these opportunities more accessible is extremely important. And I'm now going to thank you so much, Amelia, for sharing your insights there. I'm now going to pass the mic over here to Autumn. Autumn actually, did the league for her project. So I'm sure some of the league folks here on the call would be very interested to hear what you have to say. But I first kind of wanted to ask you, what your experience was like in connecting with the league, and why you think it's important just generally for us to encourage young voters through activism. Like, do you see a connection through, especially since in your profile with the league, do you see a connection between activism in the ballot box and connecting all that energy that we see on the streets to political participation? So I'll turn it over to you, Autumn.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection. I had a wonderful time interviewing the league, and I interviewed Jane, and she was really nice. And it was kind of it was definitely a very new experience for me. So I was kind of like awkward, and I didn't know exactly how to answer my questions. But she was very welcoming and open to share, and so it made it a lot easier. And and that kind of energy really fuels me to want to participate more. So that's really effective. And being able to introduce that to other people will also influence others to get involved, because it's because getting involved, when you first get involved, especially when you're so young, it's very scary because you don't really know what to expect, and you don't really know how to. So being able to go, hey, these people are really nice and welcoming, and this is how you get involved with them. It makes the process a lot easier for youth. And you definitely see the connection between the ballot box and activism, because not only are you um, working to get your issues, find the issues for your solutions in the civic atmosphere. You're also at the same time, you're also urging people to look at their candidates you're electing at the ballot box, to say, how do they approach this issue, and how do we feel like this issue should be approached? And um, yeah.
I know. Thank you, Autumn. I definitely agree with you. I think, um, the more that we kind of meet young people where they are, right, in terms of these issues and advocacy and activism, kind of the more effective we will be in connecting with them and hopefully translating that energy that we have into the ballot box. And you also mentioned that aspect of just showing kind of, and Amelia touched on this too, like demystifying the process. Perhaps, Autumn, I don't know what your experience was like before you joined NYYCI, but maybe you want to speak a little bit to that, and maybe how your experience not only with us, but with Jane and with other organizations, hopefully in the future, how that might have changed your perspective on what kind of this whole movement is about.
Well, okay, so before quarantine, I wasn't really civically involved at all. I didn't really know how to. I had never been introduced to opportunities or anything. So even though I was interested in politics in that sphere, in the political sphere, I didn't really know what to do besides researching the issues on my own. And then my school emailed me about an organization, Y Vote, that I know we interviewed, and how to get involved there. So I applied and I interviewed and I got into the organization. And then from there, I learned more about what activism means and how to be active. And then I heard about NYYCI through Giselle, who's on this call. And so I thought it sounded interesting and I wanted to join. And so um, it really connects back to what we're trying to do here, which is introduce students to these organizations that many times you won't have heard of, and really gaining connections through people. And I would not be active today if someone didn't show me how to.
Right. Right. And I think that's so important. You touch on like connecting young people through other people. Um, Telling the stories of these organizations is such a way to bring out that culture and that human nature to activism. And I also kind of wanted to introduce Kyle Fallon here, who was a co-founder along with myself and really, helped us develop the whole concept of NYYCI. So I want to pass it over to Kyle and just kind of let you take the mic and speak a little bit about also that whole aspect. I know you're very into voting and political participation. So perhaps you can give your 2 cents on your perspective there and what you've learned through this process.
Sure, I would be happy to do that. So I'll go into the importance of voting. I think we all just know the general importance of voting. It's the way that we influence our government, and it's really what makes the United States like a democratic republic, or really just a republic. And if we don't exercise our vote, we're effectively just letting ourselves be ruled by the opinions of others. So we should vote, and it matters. And what I've learned and what I got really passionate about was 2 summers ago, me and Jason together, we worked in a local government office. We worked in the state senator's office, our local state senator. And what I saw there was she was the one really making the policy that would affect me. And they were the ones that really made the policy that had the greatest local effect. And it showed that it's not only the federal level we have to care about, it's also the local level, which people see mundane and boring. We treat the this election. We treat the presidential election like the Super Bowl. I mean, people stay up all night watching it. Like I have CNN, their map up right now. I'm just checking every second to see whether who's getting the votes in like Nevada and Arizona.
I'll give
But
you an update, right? If anything happens.
right, yeah, I'll give you an update. Georgia's gotten closer. That's my update. But yeah, so we treat this like such a big deal, and it is, but we often forget to vote on a local level. And it's important that we don't just vote for president. We vote all the way down, even lower than state senator, even lower than the mayor. We vote for a council person. We vote for the various, in a lot of states you can do this, you vote for the various boards. If you're on like the, I don't know, the regulatory boards I know are voted in some states.
Mm.
which have a big policy effect on companies and how the minutia of policy in states are governed.
Mhm.
So we really have to be focusing on that, and we really have to try to instill that idea in the kids we're working with. And that's what we've been doing. That was a big reason we were inspired to start this. So that's on the political process. And what I've learned coming into this is really how interested people are in getting involved. We often portray young people as this disaffected group who doesn't care about politics at all. And I know all of us here have probably been super into politics since we were like little kids, and that might be our calling. But I have talked with so many people just through NYCYCI who might not be in this meeting right now talking, and might not be currently involved in a group, but they want to get involved. And we have either got, sorry, I have someone texting me something, but we've either gotten them involved or we've helped them get involved in another organization. And there's just so much interest there. There's just a big hole. There's a big gap for a group who can connect these kids who have the interest, who have the desire, to the already existing groups that a lot of us are part of, have been part of, whatnot. And no one was,
to cut you off here, but I know that I also want to speak because I know you have to leave soon.
right.
And you talk about the importance of, once again, the need to connect these young people. And I know that you are head of outreach. So perhaps we can give you some time here. I know we have it a little bit later in the program, unless you can stay and talk for longer, which would be incredible. But if you'd like, maybe talk a little about your role as the outreach coordinator in relation to what you were saying, obviously.
Yeah. So let me just talk a bit about outreach. I'm sorry, my mom started making dinner and I can't. It's fish. If it gets cold, it's inedible. But so outreach is a super important part of what we're doing here, because it's really step one in getting from the group side, getting the groups through NYCYCI. The kids, we've built networks, we're finding them. We've got a lot of kids now, and it balances in NYCYCI at times. Sometimes we have a lot of kids and we need more groups. Sometimes we need more kids. And right now we have a ton of kids, and the movement correspondents take up a lot of space. They take up a lot of groups. So if you don't want to have too many movement correspondents assigned to a single group. The idea is not to have too many cooks in the kitchen, so to say. It's like a singular contact between a group and a person. So we need a lot of groups if we have a lot of people, because we can't have like 5 people assigned to one group because it just muddies it. So we're kind of the start of the assembly line of getting groups in. We reach out to new groups. So what I've been doing and what we're doing now is we have groups we already know are interested, but we just haven't made proper contact yet. And since now we have the need for them, we're starting to reach out. And to give the kids on my team a little more room for creativity and kind of get their input in NYCYCI, which I think we always need rather than always get the same groups that are interested in whatnot, is I've been encouraging them to do about maybe 30 minutes to an hour of research on a single group. They'll reach out to about 4 groups a week. That's their assignment, 4 or 5. 3 of those are supposed to be ones that we already know of, that they know of us, we know of them, we just haven't kind of talked to them yet. And the other 1 or 2 groups, they should do a bunch of research on and pick groups that they think can help NYCYCI. They have to go, they're kind of like headhunters. They go out and they find the groups that are going to help us, and it's their opinion. And really, I've given them tasks on what to look for in a good group. But I think that it just kind of it'll diversify our groups a bit, and it'll give us a different perspective than we've been getting, which I think is very important for, I don't know, helping a group grow. Because so I was passionate about that.
Hate to
And
cut off here, but just interest of time. No, thank you so much for giving your insight there.
Now I have to go, Jason. So.
Outreach, yeah. No, thank you. Thank you, Kyle. We really, outreach is definitely so important, and we really want to make sure that we're leading with that. And yeah, we appreciate your work. So go enjoy your fish, Kyle. We don't want it to get cold.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys. All right. Bye, Kyle. All right. So now I kind of want to turn the mic over to Young So. Young So is actually, she's from Guatemala, which is very interesting. And, I'm very fortunate that we were able to be connected, I think through Gia. So Young So, I think it would be really interesting if we were to hear your perspective about, what you learned from your project and how you did PBS. And also taking from an outsider's perspective, not, being from the country, what you think about the conversation at hand and the importance of activism in general. Because I know you would definitely have some interesting stories to share.
One thing that I noticed was after looking at the elections, I didn't have a firsthand experience about the US elections. And I think throughout this project, I kind of had that experience because I could connect with an organization that works with youth. And basically with PBS SRL, they're an organization that teaches youths how to record things, use the media itself, and create stuff for the media. So to develop new people that would, the future people of the media. And I think after working with them, I learned that the media is a place where opinions are really varied, and yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of diversity. Did you think you connected at all to the importance of telling the stories of these organizations and just encouraging young people to be engaged in general? Because I know you had an interesting story yourself about your experience in activism in Guatemala. So maybe you would like to share that.
I think I first got involved in politics after Guatemala kicked out one of their presidents with the protests back in 2015 because he got caught because of corruption and all that. And I think that's how I kind of really started to get involved in politics. And there weren't a lot of opportunities here in Guatemala because people don't think that politics is something very important in our life, or it's an aspect that can define the future of a country. But and so during Corona, I think one of my friends sent an advertisement of NYYCI, and that's how I got involved with the organization. And I'm very thankful of this opportunity because it's a way that I can get involved in civic engagement and politics.
Yeah, thank you, Young. So yeah, I definitely thought it was really interesting. We were able to have a international reach here. So we really appreciate your work. And Young So is actually working right now on a project with SRL continuingly. So we're looking forward to seeing that. And that just leaves Giselle. So Giselle, I know you did 2 organizations here, and Giselle's also part of the executive committee, and she's really spearheading and did a wonderful job with their website. So Giselle, I was wondering what your experience was meeting these organizations, and why you think, as I posed to the other panelists, it's so important to tell the stories of these groups and to connect young people to these opportunities for civic engagement.
I really enjoyed learning about the different organizations because I also I didn't really know about any of these organizations, and I remember I wanted to be involved civically, but I never really had like the opportunity or knew where to look when I was like a freshman, sophomore, or junior. So I was really happy when like my friend told me about NYYCI. And I think it's just very important to tell the youth how they can get involved because again, like it's hard like going into like I guess an adult organization because it's a little scary and you don't know what to do. So it's nice learning about like youth-led organizations because they're like very helpful and it's specifically aimed towards the youth.
Yeah, that's great. And once again, Giselle, I think you've done a fantastic job with the website and helping to really build that infrastructure. And I just think the sentiment is so clear after all the this everyone echoed it. I think it's just so important that we make these opportunities accessible because a lot of times young people, they want to get involved. It's not like we are apathetic to our futures. We care about our futures. We just are looking for opportunities to find our civic voice and to take action. So that being said, I want to thank all of our panelists for that really great discussion. Once again, we're really looking forward to all the work that you guys have in store because there's still, this is just the beginning. The Beyond the Ballot Box project is just the first and really a pilot for what our movement correspondents have in store. And they're already working on some new stuff. So stay tuned for that content. And I want to thank all of our panelists once again for taking the time tonight. So we'll move on here. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more for folks who are interested in getting involved with us here at NYYCI about the 4 different teams. I know we kind of mentioned it very briefly and generally, but we do have 4 different arms of our organization. So we have our movement correspondents, which you heard from some of them today, our social media team, our outreach team, which Kyle described, and our website team. So outreach, we already kind of went over. Kyle, who had to, hopefully now is enjoying his fish, described it, but they're really in charge of expanding our organizational database, absorbing new organizations, and then attracting new students. And, I really love the outreach team because they're the ones who can really be on the front lines and have those kind of flag leading pioneer moments where they can introduce and meet so many different new groups. It's really a role that I've been occupying for the past, since the beginning of the organization when I've been building it out. And it's just a fantastic way to meet new people, establish new connections, and hear all these different crazy, opportunities and stories. And like everyone's saying, it's like, wow, like I wish I knew about this when I was, in a freshman or a junior. So I want to pass it over to Katerina, she is the lead of the social media team. And I want to let her speak a little bit about what the social media team does and how a young person can get involved. So Katerina, please take the mic.
Yeah, so the reality is that social media is really prevalent amongst young people. Like that's how they get a lot of their information. So really we have no choice, but because we're a civics org, we have to, tap into that. So as the social media newsletter team, kids work on creating content for Instagram and also helping create a newsletter for NYYCI. The roles and responsibilities include first creating the content. We need content in order to get, people active on our Instagram and to get people, to remember and understand things that are going on with us. So our social media team will creates original content for our Instagram. They can use organizations as resources for their projects, and their projects can be anything from like current events or spotlights on educational resources, historical analysis, and like tying a historical event to a current issue, spotlighting opportunities and activists. And the second part is collaborating with movement correspondents. Movement correspondents don't just create social media posts, they create videos, articles, and the jobs of the social media team would be to sort of reflect what their projects in a social media post to make it more concise and to kind of reach more people on our Instagram about their projects. And the newsletter, yeah, so we have to build out our newsletter team who will be kind of spotlighting our updates. And yeah, so it's the whole thing.
Sorry, folks, I was muted. Yeah, thank you, Katarina, for walking us through there. I think we also want to emphasize, and I'll pass the mic back to Katarina, the importance of using our main resource, which is our organizations, to create our content. So maybe Katarina, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I think a really important part of social media and just our job in general is the people on our team. We want to give them something that they can't get just from like, you know, being on their own and like creating their own social media post on their own time. We want to give them something that's unique, which is our organizations and the resources they have and the information they have. So we want to emphasize that that's like a big part and a big tool that they can use to, you know, get out their message, get out the messages that our organizations have.
Yeah, I think that's very important, not only from the perspective of our organizations, but we have so many networks as well that extend beyond just, you know, like with, for example, the Civic Engagement Commission in part of the New York City government. They're doing a whole participatory budgeting program where you can submit ideas for how to spend $100,000 of money that they have. So like that would be something that'd be really cool for someone on our social media team to spotlight and to highlight, so we can get more young people to, you know, get involved in this initiative and take a agency and have some responsibility over, you know, how we spend our money, for example. So there's so many different networks and opportunities and connections that we've built that go beyond just maybe traditional nonprofit advocacy organizations that have these types of cool things that I think a lot of young people would be attracted to. Okay, so that being said, we'll move on to the website team. And the website team is really self-explanatory. They're really in charge of the functional aspects of our website, and they will also do some R&D to make sure that we improve our NYYCI model, increase engagement, and effectively connect to students. Once again, the responsibilities pertain from, you know, daily upkeep of opportunities, as I'll pass it over to Giselle in a moment when we go over our website, and she'll kind of walk everyone through what it looks like. But really, we want to make sure that that's evergreen, or not evergreen, that's up to date, I'm sorry. We also want to make sure our newsroom is up to date with all the movement correspondent pieces we have, and then just everything, you know, aesthetically is in tip-top shape. And then R&D as well. I know this is something that we're going to be talking about moving forward now that we have our new website, you know, structurally completed. But we also wanted to have meetings where we can conduct focus groups and talk about how we can improve the website engagement and efficacy of the NYYCI model with our website. So we don't want to just, we want to know how young people are using our website, what our standards of success are, how we increase engagement, and how do we make it more appealing to our audience. Okay, so with that being said, I will now turn it over to Giselle, who will walk us through our new website. So Giselle, maybe you want to talk also about the process that went behind creating it, and all that jazz. So I'll turn the mic over to you.
So we definitely like wanted to make the website like very clear, aesthetically pleasing, and like not like too much information, but like the right information that grabs your attention, especially like right away. And like you can see how we like highlighted like make youth activist movement accessible, and like get involved, and stories just to really capture people's attention. And then we also wanted to highlight like the different types of opportunities people have that are available within the organization, and then spotlight initiatives that our organizations are having, just to like really get the information to people right away. And so like this process was definitely very long, had a lot of long meetings, but I think it was definitely worth it because our website came out really great. And then again, like with the about section, we just wanted to tell a little bit about our organization and highlight the members. So we have like our executive board and then our team members. And then we also have like a section for the organizations to highlight the organizations. So we want to highlight our organizations because they're obviously very vital to the purpose of NYYCI. And I think like we were able to do it in a very like aesthetically pleasing way, and also that also like gets the information to you. And then we also have the Get Involved, which divides all the opportunities people have very clearly. And again, like we try to like maintain like a youthful aspect that like really draws whoever comes on the site in. And then we also, wanted to have it like very easy to like make it very easy for people to see how they could join us and become a part of our organization. And then lastly, we have stories, which highlights the work of like our movement correspondents. So they could again get the information they need to see how they can become youth activists.
Yeah, and here, guys, what you're looking at are the posts are beyond the ballot box. So this is the campaign we just concluded that we rolled out on our Instagram. So quick plug, follow us on Instagram, at NYYCI 2020. You'll see all of the movement correspondent posts, and they're also here published as well. As you can see, here is, Toby Paperno. That was what Amelia did. This is Giselle's great work with 0 Hour. You can go through them. A lot of folks did some social media infographics. And yeah, this is just going to be the beginning of this. As we expand and add more projects, as we add more content from our movement correspondence, this is just going to grow. So this is just one project. And I think, Amelia did it. If you have time, well, first of all, go to nyYCI.org, check out all these stories. But, Amelia did a really great job with this video with Toby Paperno. So it's actually, this is a part of it here. So you should definitely check that out. Then League folks, here's the League one. So if you want to check that out as well, Autumn did a great job. So yeah, that's fantastic. Giselle, do you have anything else to add, perhaps about the process, perhaps about how you feel about the website?
I guess like, again, it was a very long process that I really enjoyed like being able to work with everyone, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Giselle. I mean, I can't stress this enough. Giselle, Katerina did a fantastic job. Gia, who's not here, but I want to give all my kudos to them. As Giselle said, we had some long meetings, but I think it turned out really, really well. And I'm really excited to keep pushing with this. Okay, so you may be asking, this all sounds fantastic. The website is beautiful. Thank you again, Gia, Katerina, Giselle. I can't emphasize enough how much of a support you guys were. So how can you guys get involved? Well, luckily you've made it easy for you. There's really 2 ways to help out our effort here. I mean, 3 if we're including donations as well, but 2, well, first one is our student form. So if you're interested and you're a young person, or if you know other young people who may be interested in either joining our mailing list, so that's just our general student network, so people who are just interested, looking for our opportunities as our organizations, want to stay up to date with the different stories that we're posting and whatnot. You can fill out that form, and then we will collect your email for that, for our newsletter. And then there's also an option on that form for actually joining our team, and you can, become a part of NYYCI and one of those 4 kind of teams that we laid out. Yeah, so thank you, Katerina, for putting that first form in the chat. And then that second form there is if you know of an organization. So if you think you have an organization in mind, maybe Katerina, you can kind of make a mark there. The first one is for students. The second one in the chat is for organizations. So if you know of an organization and you think, okay, they have great opportunities for young people, and we think they would really benefit from our network and from the connections that we have to students, please send them that form, have them fill it out, and we will, be more than happy to meet with anyone and have a conversation about our goals and absorbing them into the fold. That being said, I think we're doing really, really well on time, which is great because I'm sure some of the students can say here, sometimes I lose track and I keep talking. So it's good that yeah, Katerina definitely can vouch for that one, but it's good that, we're good on time here. And I want to maybe pass it over to Jane because she did answer a question in the chat. And if anyone else has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will ask, please put your questions in the chat and we will be answering them. So Jane, I'll pass the mic to you just so you can answer that question that was in the chat about funding. But everyone else, if you have a question, please put in the chat and we'll get to it.
Hi guys, it's Jane Hatterer from the chair of the Education Committee. And I'm so proud of the work, just want to say that, so proud of the work that the team at NYYCI has been doing. And it's an honor to be an ally and a part of this great initiative. Somebody asked how we are financed. We had, from the fair, we had a contribution from Columbia University. That was a nice contribution. We've had some honorarium. We also, during the fair, were able to raise money from kind of friends and family network that we had, some third-party networks that we were connected to and people were able to donate directly. But we are looking for funding to pay our correspondents, to build out more initiatives and the site. So we are open to any suggestions anybody has, any ideas, any donations. So thank you for the question. And I just want to say hats off to all the great work at the team, and we're excited to help expand this initiative throughout the state. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, just to be clear for everyone, so we are part of our parent organization is the League of Women Voters. So in terms of how, I don't know if people, how the money is being handled is obviously through our parent organization. We are not a 501c3 ourselves. Our affiliate is the League of Women Voters, and they've been, amazing. I want to give a quick shout out before we're done to the league, because they've been incredible, especially the education committee, all the folks there. Crystal, especially, I think she might have left, but we're embarking on our expansion process. So you might have heard in some of the acronyms tonight. I know there are a lot of acronyms out there, so sometimes you can go in one ear out the other, but some folks said NYCYCI. So we were formerly NYCYCI. We have now transitioned into NYYCI, hence the new domain name for our website and new Instagram name. And really who have been on the league is really it's on the forefront of that and helping us expand. And we're on the process of doing that and expanding across the state. And our goal and our vision is to bring in some of the different youth leaders and youth chairs from different state chapters across the state and absorb them in to our work. And hopefully we will then also expand this even nationally. So and I want to thank you, Diane, for the comment. I think we always need to keep the momentum going. I think that's the motto of our organization, right? Encouraging sustained civic engagement. So I think understanding the process of voting, I really think that, NYYCI, we're dedicated to this holistic strategy of civic engagement and voting and meeting students where they are in terms of the issues that they care about in these advocacy organizations. And through these opportunities for activism and advocacy, we encourage not only just a automaton voter who goes in and checks boxes every 4 years on a presidential election, but someone who's informed and engaged in their local community. And that translates into, as Diane's saying, into support for local elections. Because if you're working for Teens Take Charge and you're invested in the education system in New York State, you're a lot more likely to know about stuff like HECT Chalendra, which is a bill that's going through the New York State Assembly and the New York State, or that was passed, obviously in the New York State Legislature, that, deals with specialized high schools. So because of that, now you're more prone to care about, you know about state government, and you're more prone to care about, what happens to it and how it affects you, because you're involved in this organization that deals with this local issue. I will echo what Jane said. We are in early planning stages for initiatives related to the local 2021 elections. We're working with Make the Challenge. We're working with Trinity Commons, who worked with us for our Finding Your Civic Voice event, and some other organizations to really focus on that, because a lot of our organizations are local. And I think there's a real great, like we've always said, connection between activism in the ballot box and connecting some of the youth leaders who are really leading the charge in terms of civic engagement amongst young people. And bringing them to the table when we have these conversations about, half the city government being up for grabs. So we have about 1 or 2 more minutes. If there's no other questions, I just want to thank everyone again. I'll stop my share so we can all see each other. I just want to thank everyone again for coming. I want to thank our students, Autumn, Giselle, Katarina, Young So, Amelia, I think she might have had to leave, but Kyle, I want to thank the league once again for all of your support. And I'm really, really excited, really looking forward to our next steps here. So once again, if anyone wants to contact me directly, if you have any questions or anything like that, I will put my I'll put my email in the chat, and you guys can reach out to me individually and I can answer any questions you have. And please, please, please circulate those forms if it is relevant. So once again, we're, looking perfect on time. I want to thank everyone, and hope that everyone has a restful evening tonight, and maybe not, but hopefully in the next few days we will. But thank you again. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Take care, everyone.